Hello Year 6, it's Wednesday and we're going to do more fractions. Hope you haven't got fraction fatigue yet. Today you're going to be dividing fractions by integers, so dividing fractions by whole numbers. And the first section, we're actually not going to show you a video because I think you will remember this very, very quickly. So I'm going to talk you through what you need to do. As you'll see here, the first question asks you to divide 4/5 by 2. So just to give you a top tip here, this number here, the 2, is in maths we call it the divisor. It's the number you are dividing by. So you're dividing 4/5 by 2. So remember, when you're doing division, you're kind of sharing out, aren't you? You're grouping, you're sharing out. So if we had 4/5, I'm sharing it between 2 people. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many fifths would they have each? Well, one lot would have 2/5 and the other lot would have 2/5. So that's quite a simple calculation. 4/5 divided by 2 is 2/5. So let's just think about that again. What a simple check for you to make is that if the numerator is equally divisible by the divisor, so if we can see that I can divide 4/5 by 2, there's a connection there, you simply do that. So 4/5 divided by 2 is 2/5. What would this one be then? Let's look at this one together. 4/5 divided by 4. So here's our whole split up into fifths, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts. And we have got here 4 of those parts, 4/5. If I'm sharing those 4/5 or dividing them between 4 people, how many fifths would they have each? I think you know. You'd have 1/5 each. So here, as you can see, that the divisor is easily connected to the numerator. The numerator can be divided by the divisor. So have a go with the other questions. Question 2, just to make it a little bit more challenging, you've got to work out what the divisor is. So we've got the answer here, 4/25. Therefore, what has 12/25 been divided by? Well, you know it's going to be a number. How many 4s are there in 12? 3. Let's see, does that work? 12/25 divided by 3. If I had 12/25, I'm sharing them between 3 people. How many 25ths would they have each? Okay, hopefully you've got to see that. Let's have a look here. This is a word problem looking at the same thing. 1 shares 8/10 of a juice between 4 glasses. So 4 is the divisor. 8/10 divided by 4. How much would go into each glass? So he's sharing 8/10 of the jug, not the whole jug, 8/10 of it equally between 4 things. So, how many tenths would go into each of those glasses? Question 4, doing exactly the same, but let's look at this in terms of a mixed number, 1 and 1/11. Well, look at this. I can't do that in its current form, can I? So what do I need to do? Let's have a think. What do you think I need to do? Absolutely. You need to find the equivalence of this as an improper fraction, or so if I say in my class, it's improper, innit? So an improper fraction. What would 1 and 1/11 be as an improper fraction? I think you know. Can you then divide that by 3? Yes, you can. Brilliant. So have a go at those independently. Those are when you have the divisor and the numerator, there's a relationship there that you know the numerator is divisible by the divisor. The divisor is this number here. In our case at the moment, it's the integers. You're then going to go on to where you're looking at unit fractions. So we'd like you to have a look at the video first. You will need a pen and paper to have a go at that because there's a little bit more challenge involved if you're looking at 1/4 divided by 3, for example. Okay, then we've got a series of questions for you to do here. Based on that, The first one models it out as it does in the video. So the question is 1/3 divided by 2. Here's our third. If we're dividing it by 2, how much have we got? Remember, you need to divide all these parts by 2. So we divided that by 2. I'm going to draw it on here for you. Divide that by 2. What does that part then become? Well, remember, what part of the whole? So we would have to do the same, exactly the same here. We'd need to draw that one in as well, like that. And then we would need to draw exactly the same one in for that. So we've now split our whole into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parts. So that would then become, got your third, dividing it 2, it would become 1/6. So what you will probably notice that 1/3 divided by 2 equals 1/6 is exactly the same as saying 1/3 multiplied by 1/2. Because remember, if you're dividing something by 2, you're actually halving it, aren't you? There's a top tip there. Now you might want to draw out the models for each of these. I've got a third, and now I've got to split it into 3 equal parts. What would one of those parts be? Here, I've got 2/3. Each of those thirds you need to split into 3 parts. Let's pinch those from there. Or not. 1, 2, 3. Get one a bit bigger. Try and make them look equal. So I've now split that into 1, 2, 3 equal parts. There we go, it's that trick. So then we've now got 1, 2, 3 there, 1, 2, 3 there, 1, 2, 3. So in total, we'd have split a whole into 9ths, and 1 part from there, 1 part from there would be 2/9. Okay, have a little go drawing those out and thinking about that. Here, you've got 3/4 of a kilo of rice, and you need to divide that equally between 2 bowls. So 3/4 divided by 2. Or you could say, what is half of 3/4? How much would go into each bowl? Fabulous. These questions here are simply calculations similar to this. If it helps you to draw them out, you can do that. This one here, you can see that it's the same equation, it's just you've got the answer at the beginning. Right. And then finally, for extension here, all you've got to do here is you've got to reverse it. You know, it's like doing the inverse. You know what the divisor is. So how would you calculate what the original fraction is if you know what it's already been divided by? And this was picking up this question here about with Tommy, dividing by 2 is the same as finding half of a number. So that's what we were saying before. So if you are saying 4/11 divided by 2 is the same as saying half of 4/11. Do you agree with him? And explain why. So enjoy your maths today, enjoy the challenge, and don't forget writing all your equations out as you do, not just the answers, and please send them through to us so we can all see.